Right now at 5, voting in the Magnolia State continues for 2 more hours. We'll see how voter turnout's going for the presidential primary. Plus, gather up your important documents. The Shred It truck is making a stop in Tupelo this week. These stories are ahead. But first, after watching from the sidelines, Mississippians are finally having their voices heard as part of the presidential process. Polls across the Magnolia State opened at 7 this morning and are still open for about 2 more hours. WTVA's Craig Ford's following today's vote. He joins us live with the very latest.
Emily, good afternoon. We're coming to you from Lawndale Presbyterian Church in Tupelo, where we're told by poll workers the turnout today has been steady. Mississippi Secretary of State describes the turnout statewide as light, with voting going smoothly for the most part, with the exception of some problems at precincts in the Jackson area. Here's what's on the ballot today as far as our area is concerned. We have Democratic and Republican primaries for president. We also have some party primaries for the U.S. House. In the 1st Congressional District, which includes most of North Mississippi, there is only a GOP primary. In the 3rd District, which includes Starkville, most of Oktibbeha County, and all of Noxubee County, there are Democratic and Republican primaries. But the main event today is the race for the White House. Mississippi has 41 Democratic delegates and 40 Republican delegates. And then you throw in the fact that we're not the only state holding presidential contests. We've also got them in Michigan, in Idaho, and in Hawaii. For a broader look at the presidential race, here's Steve Handelsman.
Yay! Thank you for letting me come by.
She campaigned in Michigan, where Hillary Clinton has a 21-point lead in pre-vote polling as Michigan Democrats cast ballots.
I believe she's the right person to lead this country.
I feel like she's an honest person.
Losing Michigan with its unions and racial diversity could crush Bernie Sanders. He's trailing badly in delegates, but just 9 points down nationally in today's NBC News Wall Street Journal poll.
We see a road to victory.
There's voting today in Mississippi, Idaho, and Hawaii. But Republican John Kasich is focused on Michigan.
I don't know where, but I think we're going to do well, and we're going to win Ohio.
2, 3.
Marco Rubio is struggling.
What we hear from people all over the country is, please do not let Donald Trump be our nominee.
Trump will not be, claims Ted Cruz, who's close now in the delegate count.
And if you don't want to see Hillary Clinton as the president, which is the inevitable result of Donald Trump being the nominee, come join us. Let us stand together.
Raise your hand. Trump said today he might stop asking supporters to raise their hands after critics said the gesture is like a Nazi salute.
If it's offensive or if there's anything wrong with it, I wouldn't do it. But when I say raise your hand, everybody raises their hand. They're screaming to me to do it.
And Trump led in pre-vote polling in Michigan and Mississippi. A week from today is the showdown, Florida and Ohio, that could answer the question, can Donald Trump be stopped? I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News, Washington.
Be sure to stay with WTVA News for our You Decide 2016 coverage. We'll have vote totals at the bottom of the screen after the polls close at 7 p.m. We'll also have them online at WTVA.com and the WTVA News app. And you will get a full recap tonight on WTVA News at 10. For now, we are live in Tupelo at Lawndale Presbyterian Church. I'm Craig Ford, WTVA News.
Craig, thank you so much. In other news today, one person is dead after a traffic accident this afternoon on Highway 30 in Union County. The accident happened about 1 mile from the Prentiss County line. Witnesses say it appears a pickup truck left the highway and struck a driveway culvert. The truck then flipped and crashed into a tree and caught fire. A small area of woodlands near the accident site did burn. One person was airlifted to a Memphis hospital in critical condition. We hope to have more from the Mississippi Highway Patrol later on this evening. Look for any updates online at WTVA.com or ahead on WTVA News at 6. Starkville police have arrested 2 teenagers in connection to the shooting death of a child at the Camelot Apartments on Friday night. Police arrested 17-year-old Abdurrahman Fontaine Lee Jr. and 15-year-old Tomas Talib Bradford. Both of them are from Starkville and both are charged with armed robbery. The shooting happened on March 4th on North Montgomery Street. Lee turned himself in on a $50,000 warrant. He later bonded out. He will appear in court on April 11th at 6 p.m. Bradford remains behind bars in the Oktibbeha County Jail on a $50,000 bond. A Tishomingo County man is facing felony child abuse charges. The arrest follows an incident that happened on Sunday. Officers were investigating a report of injuries to a child. Those injuries were sufficient enough that the child had to be transferred to Le Bonheur Hospital for treatment. Further investigation led authorities to conclude the undisclosed injuries were more than accidental. 35-year-old Lonnie Lee has been charged with the child abuse. The child remains in Memphis in critical condition. Police cadets got classroom training today on civil issues. They learned about difficulties that can arise when they respond to calls about injunctions and restraining orders. Corporal Edwards wanted the cadets to know they can rely on supervisors for insight when questions arise. He also wanted them to know how important civil calls are.
I've got several examples of officers getting killed where a civil issue just spun out of control and now it turned into a criminal issue, and then we have to get involved, which we never want to.
And police cadet training lasts 12 weeks. The cadets will also undergo physical training tests. A company specializing in defense ammunitions making a comeback. Nammo Tally Incorporated, which is located in South Lowndes County, was awarded a multi-million-dollar contract for the production of ammunition for an assault weapons system. Operations were suspended in 2014 when the contracts ran out, but they'll soon return with 12 new jobs and a $97 million contract. That contract's expected to be complete in September of 2020. Former NBC News anchor Tom Brokaw will be in Oxford May 14th to deliver this year's commencement address at Ole Miss. Brokaw, who remains a special correspondent for NBC News, speaks to graduating students, their families, and other guests at 9 a.m. in the Grove. In case of rain, the ceremony will be moved to 9:30 a.m. at the Pavilion at Ole Miss. And if you're looking to do a bit of early spring cleaning, this may be a good week to start. The Shred-It truck will be making its way to Tupelo this Friday. The truck will be at the North Gloucester Street Walmart from 7:30 a.m. until 2 on March 11th. Residents can bring up to 5 large garbage bags or boxes of documents to be shredded free of charge. It's a good way to get rid of those bank statements, credit card bills, and other paperwork properly and keep it out of the wrong hands. The program is sponsored by the Attorney General's office and other corporate and government authorities. Well, the push continues tonight to increase transportation funding across our state. Funding to repair roads and bridges has not been increased since 1987 when the 4-lane system was created. The Mississippi Economic Council is calling on the state legislature to act this year to make that happen. MEC President Blake Wilson addressed the Columbus Rotary this afternoon. He says the roads are in bad shape and everyone should get behind some sort of user fee, whether it's an increase in the gas tax, registration fees, or sales tax. The MEC recommends an increase in $375 million in transportation funding.
And we feel that will pretty much enable us to catch up. Won't solve all our problems, but we'll catch up, and it will enable us to continue with new construction as well, because we still have to keep building new roads. We can't give up on that, but this will enable us to keep an edge on fixing our roads while at the same time continuing to build new roads.
And Wilson says the legislature expects to start talking about transportation funding this week. The students of Shannon Middle School are getting a special lesson in their finances. The class is being put on by Renaissance Bank, and it's meant to teach the teens some important tips on how to save money, earn interest, and even handle stocks. Next on the agenda is to teach the kids about how credit scores work, as well as how to build financial relationships.
And for their financial well-being in the future, because these are lessons that they'll have to learn, that they need to learn now as in their youth, so that as they grow older, it continues to stay with them and they can become consistent in their money management.
And today's class is just one of a 4-part series lasting until the end of March. The city of Saltillo was approved to be a Mississippi Main Street member back in February. Well, today, city leaders invited the public to come and celebrate that designation at City Hall. Wayne Herford reports that the designation could mean a brighter future for Saltillo.
Residents and local leaders were all smiles at the official designation ceremony for Saltillo's Main Street program. The program has proven to be a successful one for many cities and towns across the country and the state. Leaders are hoping that that same type of success happens here.
You know, there's no way that I feel like that we can go wrong with it. Of course, we have to do our part, and we're committing to do that.
As part of that commitment, Smith says that the city has already hired a Main Street director. Her name is Lindsay Hines.
Being a member of Mississippi Main Street opens us up to all kind of resources with design, economic vitality. It helps us with like our historic preservation.
It will help our image overall from community's point of view and help our citizens and just help us all to be a bigger, better family up here.
City officials say that Saltillo is already showing growth, both in its historic downtown area as well as the growing business sector on Highway 145. But officials admit that the Main Street designation, like the growing business sector, has not happened overnight.
It takes a year, as I said, for the application process. Now, how long does it take to become a Tupelo? Well, they've had a Main Street program for 30 years.
But that's okay, say local officials, as they add, Saltillo is certainly headed in the right direction.
We're going to be working hard to make big things happen.
In Saltillo, Wayne Herford, WTVA News.
Thank you, Wayne. Main Street officials say the program provides technical, architectural, and other services. They say Saltillo is now part of a network of some 1,800 Main Street members all across the country. Another beautiful day across our viewing area. We're looking live out of our Tupelo Tower Cam. It's 5:09 on this Election Day Tuesday. Let's go over to WTVA Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon for a first look at that Weather Authority forecast.
Yeah, outside, the clouds definitely there. They have certainly increased through today, though rain chances should stay away from us today. They'll start increasing for maybe some sprinkles tomorrow in the afternoon and much better chances for rainfall as we go beyond that into the extended forecast. The warmth still the headline today with temperatures in the mid-70s, 74 right now in Tupelo, 74 as well in Jackson, 75 for Memphis. You can see that 67 in Little Rock. That's not a coincidence. More rain there is keeping temperatures cooler. Also some severe weather back to the west, even a tornado watch. Now, here's the headline with this. This is all going to break up before it makes it here. It has a lot to do with this stalling system to our west. And the reason why once the rain arrives, we're going to have quite a few chances for quite a few days. We'll talk, of course, timing on that as we look ahead toward your weekend forecast. It's Tuesday. We can do that. Details in a few minutes. Emily.
Yes, we can. Still more news ahead coming up. Flowers and condolences continue to pour in for former First Lady Nancy Reagan. Natalie Morales will keep us up to date on that. And then later, today marks the anniversary of the missing Malaysian jetliner. These stories and much more ahead as WTVA News at 5 continues.